Following presentation is closed captioned for the hearing impaired.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Walt Disney Company presents the 3rd Annual American Teacher Award. With guests Paula Abdul, Anka, Johnny Carson, Tony Danza, Morgan Freeman, Melanie Griffeth, Mark Harmon, Dustin Hoffman, Don Johnson, Jay Leno, Luke Perry, John Ritter, and some of the most outstanding teachers in America. This program is presented in partnership with the Coca-Cola Company and Delta Airlines.
I was just another kid in class, or so I thought.
So we thought.
I was there to take up time and space, not to be taught.
Not to be taught.
I was the wise guy, the goof off, the clown.
What a clown.
If anything came up in class, I would put it down.
You would always put it down.
But then one day, my junior year, I came to class and met a teacher to whom,
What?
a teacher to whom I owe one humongous debt. So I was up there doing my usual riff, and the kids were cracking up, when all of a sudden I realized they weren't laughing at me. So I turned to the front of the room, and there was my teacher with the funny nose, the glasses, and the mustache. They were laughing at him. Ticked me off. He says, "You're funny, or you could be really funny if you knew what made things funny," and tosses me a book of plays by Neil Simon. Read and learn, he says. So I read, and I learn, and I stopped interrupting the class, and I became part of it. Thanks, Teach. You know, I may not become a comic, but I have become a student. My most unforgettable teacher, the one who saw me through, will leave a permanent impression on everything I do. remember back in 7th grade, I was a scrawny, clumsy kid. I had no coordination like all the other kids did. In gym, the coach took me aside and told me help was on the way. The coach said I would make the team if I would work and practice and pray. The coach decided I should be a place kicker. And every day after school, coach was out there with me, taking the snap, pulling the ball, giving me advice. And not only did I make the team, I kicked the winning field goal against our arch rival, St. Joseph's Academy. I'll never forget my coach. I swear on bended knee. Here's to you, Sister Mary Francis. You were a mother superior to me.
I grew up in a one-room schoolhouse in a one-horse town until the day we moved to the city, where the kids in my new schoolhouse took one look at me and really disapproved. I was feeling like a duck out of water. I was nervous as a cat, alone and scared. When the teacher caught my eye and smiled real warm like and said she'd like an oral talk prepared. I was from the country. I didn't even know what an oral talk was. What's a subject, the kids wanted to know. The subject, she said, was how to milk a cow. Well, the kids began to snicker. Doesn't anybody know anything about something so basic as milking a cow? How about you, she said, and looked right at me. I reckon I do, I said. She had me come up to the front of the class to tell all I knew. By the time I finished talking, all my fears had gone away, and the other kids were listening hard to what I had to say. And the teacher, she was smiling and said I'd done real great. After that, each time it came to talk, shoot, I could hardly wait.
Her most unforgettable teacher.
The one who saw me through will leave a permanent impression. Woo!
A permanent impression.
I was known as the Rembrandt of the spray can. My graffiti was the envy of them all. I was driven to deface every single empty space, every bathroom, every classroom, every wall. I was caught and they put me on probation. Made me go to art class. Ha! What a laugh! Teachers say your sense of line and of color are real fine. But why do you have to sign your autograph? Instead of making fun of me, the teacher took me on weekends and after class to the museums. He even bought me canvas and brushes and oil paints, and he learned me.
What?
He taught me how to use them. Now, I ain't saying I'm completely cured of nothing, but I haven't touched a can of spray paint in close to a couple of years, and I can pass a blank wall now without even getting sweaty palms. And I owe it all to him. My most unforgettable teacher.
Unforgettable teacher.
Cuando yo vine de América Central, when she came from Central America, todos hablaban inglés. Everyone spoke English,
Pero no.
she did not.
Todos los niños de la clase
All
se
the
burlaban de
children in
mí.
the class made fun of her.
Y ella
And I
era la
was
peor
the
de
worst of
todas.
the lot.
La
The
maestra,
teacher,
mirando la
sizing up the
situación,
situation,
vino con
came
una
up with
solución
a
en ese
solution
momento.
on the spot.
Ella dijo,
She
Ustedes
said you
dos
both
eran una
would be
pareja.
a team,
Y al
and
final
at
del
the end
término,
of the term,
las
we
dos
both would
tendrán
get whatever the grade
que yo tenga.
she got.
Así
So
que
we
declaramos
declared
una
a
tregua.
truce, and we
Empezamos
started
a
to
estudiar
study
juntas.
together. I would teach her the assignment in English, and
Ella
she
me
would give it to
enseñaba
me
en
in
español.
Spanish. And
Y al
about
final del
halfway through the term,
término,
we were both speaking in each other's language.
By the end of the
Y al
term,
final
we
del
were
término, nos
friends.
nosotros éramos amigas. And also, by the way, gracias. Thanks to that very special teacher, she and I both got an
Our most unforgettable teacher, the one who lit our spark, the one who inspired and fired us up to make our mark, the one who cheered us and steered us on a course straight and true. And we know that somewhere there is someone whose most unforgettable teacher is you and you. I have come to learn, to teach, to learn, to extend my reach, to learn, to become the best that I can be, to think, to listen, to see. I'll try to abide what my teachers taught me, though my years be small. I'll apply what my teachers taught me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Carson.
Thank you. Marvin. Thank you very much. Please sit up straight. No talking. Teacher in the third row chewing gum, you have to stay 1 hour after this program is over. I've always wanted to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to welcome all of you to the third annual American Teachers Award presented by the Walt Disney Company. All of us in the entertainment business are asked every year to attend a lot of award shows. Most of them are kind of ego massaging, kind of silly. But in my opinion, this is the most meaningful and deserving award show on the air today. Proud to be followed. Many people feel that their education ends when they graduate high school or college. Of course, it's really just beginning. And I think it's very reassuring to know that the chief executive officer of the Disney Company, Michael Eisner, actually failed his multiplication tables in grammar school. But Michael's been learning ever since. Last week he was still walking around. 2 times 93 is 186. So there is hope for all of us. One is very fortunate if you had caring teachers in high school, and I had a lot of them. And if you don't mind a personal note, I'd like to talk about one. Her name is Faye Gordon. She lives in Norfolk, Nebraska, taught school there for many, many years. I grew up there. I had my grammar school and high school education. Faye Gordon taught me penmanship and English when I was in the 3rd grade, and we have corresponded ever since. It's almost 60 years. I talked with her earlier this week, and she said, John, please, you shouldn't mention my name. And I said, you mind if I tell them how old you are? And she says, at my age, it doesn't make any difference. The dear lady is 96 years old. So, and still has, and still to this day has the most beautiful handwriting I have ever seen. So if you're watching, Faye, excuse me, Miss Gordon, thanks for caring. And now a word about tonight. The teachers you will meet on this show have been selected in 12 separate categories from thousands of worthy applicants. And you'll get to know more about our 36 finalists and the selection process as the show progresses tonight. They will learn for the first time tonight the name of the outstanding teacher in each category. And at the end of the evening, all 36 teachers who have participated in this award ceremony and who incidentally have been in each other's company the past 3 days will select one of their own to be recognized as Outstanding Teacher of the Year for 1992. Our first category is science, a subject close to my heart. I was dynamite in science. Not. But ever since I was in the Navy taking courses in navigation, I've had a long-standing interest in astronomy. I am one of the few people in Malibu whose telescope is actually facing up. The three honorees in science this year all have impressive credentials that would stand them in good stead in any area of the workplace. Yet they all chose to pass on their knowledge and their enthusiasm for their subject by becoming teachers. Here are the honorees in science now placed under the microscope for you to see.
With a PhD in chemistry, what's Cherokee Krishnan still doing in school? In Islip, New York, he's using a combination of ingenuity and theatricality to ignite students, young and old, to the excitement and fascination of scientific discovery.
I look for somebody whether they are trying. And I know if they try, they can succeed.
All right, let's go Bubbles. Let's go Bubbles.
If you are not going to be a chemist, if you are not going to be a scientist, this is the only opportunity in your life to learn some science. I should be able to communicate to all just like a preacher, except that I preach science and education.
Observe what is going to happen.
I don't just teach chemistry. I don't expect them to be a chemist. That I want to reorganize their thinking so that they will be responsible citizens. That's my job. I want them to know that I have the best, and I want them to have the best, and I want them to be the best.
At Logan High School in Bellefontaine, Ohio, Spencer Ream students are making their own scientific discoveries every day. For Spencer, that's the formula for success. His classroom and lab are open day and night because learning doesn't stop when the bell rings.
Biggest issue for a high school teacher is get students excited. Once you get them excited, you can't stop them from learning.
My project title is The Effects of Ultraviolet Light in Bacterial DNA Mutation Repair Systems, and I come to lab because it's a learning experience for me.
I think science is best learned through hands-on activities. I think that's when it really comes alive.
Yeah. Salt.
Salt, right. I've been able to influence a few students to kind of change their goals for life. And I think when I started teaching here, that was just unheard of. But it's been a very exciting evolution because the students are really, I think, getting excited about what they're doing. And they become excited about their capabilities. You know, there's this feeling that, yes, I can accomplish, yes, I can be successful at this. And that's what's important.
With his working-class background and his Ivy League education, Douglas Tyson is a powerful inspiration for students at Benjamin Banneker High in Washington, D.C. Whether he's teaching calculus, biology, or chemistry, Douglas is the catalyst for his students' success.
See, what I'm trying to get you to see is that you can do a lot of stuff by just stuff that you already got in your head. You can teach students how to process the information that they see and that they hear. In my opinion, you can't get the precepts of motivation, hard work, striving for excellence, giving me your best. You can't get that from students if the students don't trust you. If I demand the best out of them, present as many exciting challenges as I can to them, reward their hard work, I feel that I can go home each and every day with the notion that, hey, you know, I gave it my best. And when they leave, I think that they can feel that, you know, that they've gotten their quote-unquote money's worth.
With us here tonight are the three honorees, Dr. Choreographed Krishnan, Spencer Reams, and Douglas Tyson. And the outstanding science teacher is Dr. Choreographed Krishnan.
I want to thank Johnny Carson for placing science on top of the list. I think he must have read yesterday's newspaper. One of the NASA shuttle program failed because they had a dead battery. We need more chemists to work on batteries. I want to thank Dr. Clyde Payne, principal of my high school, and Dr. David Hanson, the chairman of the Department of Chemistry at State University of New York at Stony Brook, for providing me opportunities to promote school-university partnerships. It allows me to touch the lives of about 3,000 students and about 300 teachers and parents every year for the last 7 years. I want to thank Professor Harold Freeman, also of Stony Brook, for sharing with me the excitement of doing chemistry for the last 25 years. Now that we have to work on batteries, I want to share with you an excitement of chemistry. Just as the magic of Disney touches the lives of everyone, young and old, so does the magic of chemistry. I want to check Mr. Johnny Carson's knowledge of astronomy too. I have two gases here. One of them is the most abundant element in the universe. The other one is the most abundant element in this planet Earth. They are hydrogen and oxygen. They were named by a French chemist in 1778. Chemists always try out, let us see, how do we know this is there? They do chemical reactions. So I'm going to do a chemical reactions. Children watching, please make sure you wear safety goggles when you wear, okay? And always wear safety goggles. And I'm going to do a chemical reaction. This is a chemical reaction. Why do things burn? That is, find out when you become a chemist. Let us see whether we have these. I made water from hydrogen and oxygen. Thanks to Coca-Cola, because a liter soda bottle is made from this plastic with the help of chemists. Thanks to Delta Airlines, because I transported this from New York to LA. Thanks to Disney Channel, because I am using their time to give you the chemistry lesson. What does a water molecule look like? Well, everybody knows H2O. If it had been like this, the planet, in this planet, the life would have been completely different because water would be a gas. Water is a crooked molecule. That's why it is a liquid, and that's why we are here. More importantly, if you want to cool a bottle of champagne, if water had been an ordinary liquid, we need about 60 pounds of ice. Remember, every one of you tonight will be walking with a bag of ice on your back because your refrigerator may not be able to handle. Thank God, it is extremely difficult to melt ice. People don't understand it. It takes 80 calories of heat to melt 1 gram of ice. So we need only like a half a pound of ice to cool a bottle of champagne. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, when you lift that glass of champagne, thank God, water is not a straight molecule, it is a crooked molecule. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, the beauty of chemistry. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Ritter.
Thank you very much. Good evening. As you can see from that semi-attractive yearbook picture, I was a graduate of Hollywood High. Though I got good grades and was president of the student body, my mind even then was captured by the legend of another famous Hollywood high school graduate I would try to emulate. Many a day I would leave school, put on my tight sweater, and sit for hours at Schwab's drugstore, waiting to be discovered. Alas, there was only one Lana Turner, and it wasn't me. Or as my English teacher, Mr. Major, would say, 'twas not I. We all look back at our school days with a mixture of pleasure and pain. Ah, the pain. It was in grade school where we got our first taste of approval from someone outside our immediate family. The teacher would put a gold star on our homework, and you could live off the residual pleasure of that achievement for a week. On the other end of the spectrum, when you were not chosen to carry the flag in the color guard or you didn't get the lead in a school play, it could put you in a depression worse than the one faced by FDR in his first term in office. I now have 3 children in grade school. Jason is 12, my daughter Carly is 10, and Tyler is 7. They're learning things at their age I had no idea about till I was well into my teens. New math and computers, foreign language and creative writing, and they want to know everything. The other day, the 3 of them came to me and they asked me, "Daddy, what were you like when you were in high school?" I asked them why they wanted to know, and they said that they were going through a trunk in the attic and came across a yearbook, a menu from a drugstore on Sunset Boulevard, and a very tight sweater. You know, how do you tell your kids about Lana Turner? I didn't try. I just took them to a pizza and a Dodger game. Ah, the pain. But now, I'd like you to meet 3 teachers of general elementary education who are opening doors to our children and showing them the wonderful world of knowledge. Here are the honorees in the general elementary category.
Rafe Esquith teaches in riot-torn Los Angeles. His 40 students at Hobart Elementary learn that to make it in life, they need to work harder than other kids. So school starts at 6 in the morning and ends at 5 in the afternoon, because in Rafe's class, there are no shortcuts.
The children who come to school here do not have an equal opportunity. Their parents do not speak English. They're new to the country. They have the desire, they have the knowledge, they have the heart. But when the race starts, the kids across town are already way in front just by who they are and who their parents are. It's my job to get them to the starting line with those other kids. Then the race is up to them. I'm the equalizer. Anybody get this hard one? Pablo.
15,999.1.
Not bad. Very good.
He's fair and he gives everybody an equal chance and he makes learning fun.
I want to show them that the United States of America is a great country which doesn't look like this neighborhood in which they live. I had a student once say to me, "Mr. Esquith, I'll tell you what you taught me. You taught me that my best was better than I thought it was." And I thought, okay, that's good.
It's hard for anyone to sit still in Art Eisenhagel's class. In Columbus, Ohio, Art uses every inch of his school to stimulate his students to become successful learners, because Art believes that the future is sitting right in his own classroom.
I have doctors, I have lawyers, I have future presidents, I have people who will find cures to cancer, cures to AIDS. I have children who will become future leaders of this country. Longfellow, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, okay? A teacher's job is to awaken, to stimulate, to fire up, to allow a child to envision, and finally to allow a child to enjoy learning. All you've got is all you can ask to help you achieve your impossible task. Learning is the sacred goal because nothing else stands in the way between learning and my students. They know that they're here to learn, that learning is life's most awesome, most wonderful privilege.
As a teenager, Christine Watkins was headed nowhere. Then she met a teacher who changed her life. Now she's the teacher inspiring students right back where she started, at Lake Mary Elementary School in Florida.
My program is centered around self-esteem, because I think if the self-esteem is enhanced, then everything else will fall into place. Who can tell me what this is? What do we call this, BJ? A menu, very good. Because my children so oftentimes lack skills, essential skills, I focus more on life skills. Here we go. 2, 4.
Christine has taken those children who everyone else has given up on and brought them up to the front. She has loved them. She has shown concern for them.
I see a little bit of myself in all of them. They are very unique, and they teach me that the most important thing in life is to feel what others might be feeling.
With us here tonight are the 3 honorees, Rafe Esquith, Art Eisenagel, and Christine Watkins. And the outstanding general elementary teacher is Rafe Esquith.
Hi, Hobart. My students are here tonight. I teach here in Los Angeles. Thank you very much. Well, I have a wish upon a star. It's been a tough year here in Los Angeles. And fortunately around the world, as in many parts of the world we seem to have peace where we didn't have once before, our eyes seem to be turned inward. And I think we face our greatest battle in the coming years, and it's a battle where all of you and all of you watching at home can help us all out. The greatest battle is to get our young people to believe that there is hope again. We felt in Los Angeles earlier this year that there was a lot of hopelessness. We saw the result of what happens when young people feel that they have no hope. Now, I work in the inner cities, and I know a lot of people watch CNN and watch and read Time magazine, and all that violence makes for great ratings, but I want to tell you the truth about the inner city. The kids in the inner city are great kids. And that's something that the reporters who come by don't understand. Believe me, I'm there every day. 50 weeks a year, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. And I'm going to tell something else. The teachers in the inner city are great teachers. But we can't win the battle without all of your help. So I would like to issue a challenge to the American public. Disney took me up on the challenge. They have this award show. I would like you, every day that they have the Disney Awards, the following day, to make that your patron of a teacher day. I want you to seek out the teacher in your community, because Art and Christine and I, we're not the best teachers. We simply represent thousands of men and women who get up every morning and work their rear ends off to try and make young people's lives better. But we need your help. So find that special teacher in your life, in your community. Find the Art, find the Christine, find the Rafe down the block from you, and find out the day tomorrow, how can I help? You doing a class trip to an orchestra? I'd like to be a driver. You know, I'm a carpenter, and I could do some great woodworking projects with your kids. Or maybe I'm pretty rich, and if you're reading Malcolm X, I'll buy you a class set of books. We've won a lot of battles in America, a lot of great stories over the year, but the biggest and the most important battle is going to take place over the next 10 years. If we work together, we're going to win it. I'm going to be fighting, and I hope you will too. And most importantly, I would like to tell the children of Hobart Elementary School, see you at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and there is a science test.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Hoffman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me if my nose sounds stuffed up tonight, but when I was a kid, I used to miss school a lot. I had hay fever. A few people are laughing because they didn't believe it then either. And then I graduated high school and it just cleared up. Until tonight. There's 500 teachers here and I'm just... I respect you guys a lot to be here. I would be remiss in not saying that education is in terrible shape in this country, and you guys are in the trenches, and you are at war, and you're working very hard for very little money, and there are a few of us who really care that we care. Tonight I wear two hats, one of which makes me an advocate for the performing arts in a time of budget cuts and false priorities. And it seems that when educational boards are short of change, the ones who get shortchanged are the music, dance, and drama departments. 30 years ago, President Kennedy said, quote, "I look forward to an America which will steadily raise the standard of artistic accomplishment and which will steadily enlarge cultural opportunities for all of our citizens. The dream is still a dream." The other hat I wear tonight is one that I tip to all the dedicated teachers of the performing arts at every level, and especially the three who have been chosen to represent the best of their profession here tonight. And our first honoree in the performing arts is Kathy Hess of Montgomery, Alabama, where she teaches dance.
At the Carver Creative and Performing Arts Center in Montgomery, Alabama, Kathy Hess uses jazz, modern dance, and classical ballet to help students reach inside themselves, release their emotions, and enrich their lives.
Now, reach, 2, 3, 4. I teach movement, and the students here love to move. When they walk in this room, they know they're not only going to be learning about dance steps and dance technique, but they're also going to get strong lessons in life. The program originally was implemented within this high school to deal with the need for positive interracial activity. 10 years ago, when I was hired to develop and implement the program, I could never have envisioned what it has become. Getting out there and giving back to that audience what you've worked so hard to earn is so special. I really love doing this, and that's a good feeling. And I hope that they will pass the lessons on.
Despite differences in race, creed, and socioeconomic backgrounds, Ms. Hess teaches her students that dance is a bridge, movement, a universal language, and discipline, dedication, and perseverance produce rewarding results. Dancing a collage of various techniques, here are Ms. Hess's dance students who reveal not only the tools of the dancer, but also the joy of movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Harmon.
When you think of physical education, which is the category I've been asked to present tonight, you tend to think of finely tuned bodies moving in graceful symmetry, accomplishing wonderful feats of athletic prowess to the applause of the crowd. The speedy track star, the elegant swimmers, the lightning fast basketball and volleyball players, and Saturday's heroes, the gridiron greats. Now, for some, that defines physical education. For others, it's the embarrassment of changing into your gym shorts for the first time in a locker room with all the other guys staring at you. It's looking at a big, fat rope suspended from the ceiling about 1.5 miles above you, and knowing that any minute, some sadist with a whistle is going to ask you, no, excuse me, tell you to climb that rope. But this is a new era, a new age of enlightenment, a new awareness of the sensitive and delicate nature of adolescence. And with this awakening comes a new approach to physical education, an approach that says we're not all going to be star athletes, but we are going to learn how to keep ourselves fit and keep ourselves healthy. We're going to learn the benefits of exercise and eating properly, and we're going to be aware of the dangers of certain kinds of social behavior and take responsibility for ourselves. 3 outstanding teachers who get this message out to their students in a comfortable, non-threatening way are the honorees in the category of physical education and health. So let's put a clock on them and see how they do.
In Mobile, Alabama, Cindy Christ competes with gangs and drugs to get to the hearts of her students. Cindy listens to the questions they don't ask, and she's dedicated to nurturing not only their physical development, but their emotional needs as well.
What I try to do is to teach these kids things that they can go out after they're finished with PE and continue doing. And when they come in here to PE, I try to go to each one of those, the shy one, the loud one, and make them feel like it is their class, individual class. I always try to make every child feel like they are special.
If you help one student, they will go out and help somebody, and it's going to continually grow.
I'm not going to change this world, I realize that, but I am going to change some of these kids' lives. If they can get their skill level up high enough to where they can go into high school and play ball and then possibly at college, it is their way out of their neighborhood and environment. I wish I could build a house large enough to take all these hurting kids home with me. I don't know, I don't guess I will ever be content until I save them all. And I know you won't save them all, but that's my goal, to save them all.
Joni Shover has everyone in Missouri's Blue Springs High School running, dancing, and swimming for their lives. Every day, Joni is right in the middle of the action, demonstrating that fitness is the key to a healthy body, inside and out.
The importance that I put on my physical education program goes beyond a healthy lifestyle. I want the kids to adopt a responsible lifestyle. With the temptations of drug use, obesity, poor nutrition, and teenage pregnancy, I want the kids to know that they are responsible for their own bodies. Physical education and health becomes a matter of life and death as much as it is a stepping stone to success.
I think it's a real good example to see somebody doing as much exercise as she is and being as happy about her life as she is. She respects the students, so that makes them respect her. And she doesn't make anybody feel like they can't do something. She just concentrates on what they can do.
After 19 years of teaching, education has given me so many rewards and satisfactions that in the next years, I would like to give back to education what it's given to me.
After 26 years of teaching, Almenia Freeman Williams is just getting warmed up. At Baton Rouge High in Louisiana, Almenia teaches aerobics and heart-healthy classes for students and adults, and still finds time to coach the boys and girls championship swim team.
Physical education today, it's all about health in terms of mental health, emotional health, social health, physical health, and not merely the absence of disease. It's not about sports and games, but it's about fitness.
You have seen from your charts what your family has passed down to you through 3 generations. Now it's up to you
to live a healthy lifestyle.
To look at her and then what she's telling you, you're going to believe what she says.
It is so important that kids find a physical relief of mental stress and strain. I hope that they find for themselves a peace of mind and use all the knowledge that I've shared with them and that they have shared with each other to have a wonderful life.
With us here tonight are the three honorees, Cindy Christ, Joni Shover, and Almenia Freeman Williams. And the outstanding physical education health teacher is Almenia Freeman Williams.
Oh boy. And it's not zippity. Wow. Let me turn one more page. I would like to invite the parents of America to get involved in your school. I would like that you help your school, support your school, lend your time and effort. And when the next tax election come up, please go out and vote for all those things that we need to enhance better education. I would like to challenge young people to not say, I can't, but I can't yet. And to tell them not to say, I don't know, but I don't know yet. And to every teacher in the United States, let's say, I can teach yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Griffeth and Don Johnson.
Good evening. Melanie and I are here tonight to give testimony as to the importance of mathematics in our lives.
Yeah, you know, before I studied mathematics, my life was a mess. I had difficulty sustaining relationships. I couldn't find a proper hairstyle. And I didn't know how to bisect an angle.
And my life wasn't much better. I had too many relationships.
Well, we know that.
People made fun of my clothes, and I didn't have a clue what the cube root of 678 was.
And then we discovered mathematics, and everything changed. We met, and we fell in love, and got married, and we have 3 beautiful children.
Now, if mathematics can do that for us, just imagine what it can do for you. Okay, so we've stretched the truth just a little bit here tonight, but there is a point to all of this.
Yes, and the point is math is not an easy subject to sell. I mean, students are often fearful of it, and they know it gets more complicated as time goes on.
That's why it's so important to have a math teacher who can make things clear and simple and logical and take the fear out of numbers.
The 3 teachers we are honoring tonight have mastered the secret of success. They may not do it by the numbers, but they teach in such a way that their students actually look forward to coming to class.
What a concept. Here is a look at these 3 miracle workers.
In Columbia, South Carolina, Christina Petrusik has a talent for making mathematics make sense. Whether she's teaching high school students or prison inmates, Christina has a formula for learning that equals success.
I want you to decide if that game is fair. Think about it first. then play the game. I believe in using hands-on experiences in the classroom. The chips are used so that the students can actually experience probability.
She constantly amazes me how she can take a complicated calculus topic and change it into a simple and concise lesson that is both easy to understand but covers the material in depth and in detail.
I want you to discover, using calculus, what the dimensions of the cheapest tin can would be. Math is a subject that anybody can do. You just have to work hard. And if you're willing to work hard, then you're not going to only succeed in math, you're going to succeed in life.
Joseph M. Sweeney left a successful career in the financial world for a job teaching math in Jackson Heights, New York. He uses the entire community to stimulate his students to be creative, imaginative, and free to discover the wonders of mathematics and the potential in themselves.
We can't have students just sitting in the classroom, coming in from 9 to 3 and going home. We've got to do different things. We've got to get involved with that community. We're going to make a what? Some brownies for who? For the homeless people. The real point, as far as the curriculum is concerned, was fractional concepts. A little concept about area, perimeter. What was my real theme? It has to do with social responsibility. They really get a feeling for what really it goes on out there in the real world. But I really believe that we have to not only bring the world into the classroom, we must go out into the world. We have a graffiti busters program. The students go out into the community, they clean up the community, they feel good about it. I think I'm touching a lot of students. So for me, the great moments are every day.
As a child, Kay Tolliver dreamed of being a teacher, and for the past 25 years, she has lived her dream at East Harlem Tech in New York. Kay uses mathematics to build self-esteem, pride, and racial understanding.
I wanted to give something back to the community. I always thought that as a teacher, what better way to give them something that they can always have? Because you see, people can't take knowledge from you. Knowledge is power.
What's mathematical about this? Anything? Could you prove to us that this is obtuse? Because, I mean, it looks like an obtuse.
If we get a right angle,
When you believe in what you do, and you know that what you do is an important job, then that's what it's all about. Because I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, teaching the children of East Harlem and seeing them learn to love education and what it can do for their life. They do need school. They do need education. They need that empowerment that literacy gives them.
With us here tonight are the three honorees: Christina Petrusik, Joseph M. Sweeney, and Kay Tolliver.
And the outstanding mathematics teacher is Kay Tolliver.
You know, I try to teach my students self-esteem, and to be honest, I never thought I was gonna win. You know, I've been teaching in East Harlem for 25 years. This is actually when the tape was made. This is the beginning of my 26th year. And you know, teachers are dream makers. We are the ones who made Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith, even though he said he didn't go to school much. We are the ones who make the doctors, the lawyers, the actors, the actresses. If it wasn't for a teacher, Bill Clinton wouldn't be in the White House today. So we do play a very important role in the life of children. I was told I only have a minute, so I'm going to make this brief, but I know back in New York I have all of my students at East Harlem Tech PS 72 watching. All right, I won. But you know who I've won for? I've won for my students, the ones who come to math class and they don't like math, and the ones who leave loving math, the ones who join the math team when they say, you know, Miss Tolliver, we're not supposed to be able to do math. Well, I tell them, Miss Tolliver has dispelled all the myths. Here is an African-American woman raised in Harlem, went to public schools, and I'm here now. I'm a believer in public school education. Education is the equalizer. I teach mathematics, but mathematics is not a one-subject deal, because no subject is an island. And with math, my students do have to write. They do have to prove what they say. Mathematics is not just numbers. It goes far beyond that. I do stress literacy in my classrooms. Yes, my students have to be literate. All students in this country need literacy. And to all those people who say, we're not successful in mathematics, we're not successful in science, because you know mathematics is a science, doctor. And what goes on, we have to make sure that we stop having students in schools that are haves and have-nots. Because you see, I'm a teacher who works on a zero budget, and I've learned to do a lot with paper and pencil. But a lot comes out of my pockets, and people don't always know how much comes out of our pockets. We need parents to go into school, force the district, give us contracts, give us money. We want other people to go into this field. Bring the respect back to teaching. Bring it back. You know, my students respect me a lot, and one of my students said to me before I came out here, she says, you know, Miss Tolliver, you're one of the most respected teachers in our school, but all teachers should be respected. I've been here for 3 days. I've met some of the most wonderful teachers in the world. This is an experience I certainly won't forget. But you know, Bill Clinton, or I should say President-elect Clinton, because I don't know you on a first-name basis, lots of the parents in East Harlem, El Barrio, South Central LA, wherever it is, where we don't have it all, they put you in office. Now it's time to put money into education. Give our kids a chance. All students deserve the best. We give 100, 150%. Now it's time for this government of this country to put their money where their mouth is.
Hey, I didn't expect to see you till next week.
Yeah, I know. You told me how slow time passes here, so I picked up these books you want and I brought them up.
Well, yeah, time does go slowly here, but that's why I'm getting good at keeping dates in my head. You got the SATs tomorrow.
So?
So why did you want to drive all the way up here and back? You ought to be home getting a good night's sleep.
I just thought I'd go check out the waves at Avila State Beach instead. What? Don't tell me you're disappointed.
Well, what good is that gonna do, huh? I mean, if you want to learn everything the hard way, just like I did, you're entitled.
That's right, I am.
And if you just want to wait around, hang out till your trust fund matures, sounds good, huh?
Doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, well, then you got a lot of money in your pocket and you think people respect you. Till the money runs out and you realize they don't.
That's right, I must have forgot who I was talking to. You know everything about trying to buy respect, don't you, Dad? I mean, that's the reason for the big endowment to California University, wasn't it?
That's right, Dylan. That's exactly right. And it didn't work. Because deep inside, I knew I was a fraud. Look, whether you go to college or not is your decision. But if you bust your butt for 4 years and you get a degree, nobody can take that away from you.
I'll keep that in mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Perry.
Hi. There was a time, not so long ago, when the vocational and technical education programs in most schools consisted of a shop teacher and a home ec teacher. Be careful in shop, see what can happen. There was a clear-cut division between what the boys were taught and what the girls were taught. Now, I'm sure many of our fathers still have the birdhouse that they build in shop somewhere in the attic, or the lamp that never lit, or the shoebox that was supposed to be your ticket to the world of small business. And what about you, moms? I mean, didn't you learn to cut a pattern and sew your graduation dress in junior high? And when no one was looking, didn't you secretly slip those shoulder pads up front to see what you might look like a few years from now? Yeah, well, the not-too-distant future is here. And with it comes a brand new definition of vocational and technical education. Now it's boys and girls together, learning about computers, communication, engineering, and most important, commitment. Vocational and technical education is not for those who can't make it in academic programs, but for all students, including those with physical or learning disabilities, to increase their job skills and their appreciation of the technological world in which we live. Here are 3 outstanding teachers who recognize their new role in the educational process and meet it with spirit and empathy.
Joan Barker knows what students are feeling and fearing. In Green River, Wyoming, Joan shares her experience with other teachers while encouraging students to share openly about issues vital to their lives.
The reason home economics courses should cover issues such as lifestyle choices, relationships, is because that's what our young people and adults are facing every day.
It's very important not to give in to peer pressure and to really believe in yourself enough to say no, and Joan teaches us how to do that.
What we need to take a look at is what are some of the barriers we have in sexuality education that keep us from being free and able to help the students become better educated.
One of the exciting things about Joan is that she has 15 kids who are either parents or are expectant parents. And it's wonderful to see these kids having an opportunity to finish high school, not be excluded as we did in the past.
I really focus in my program on decision-making, always considering a variety of options, and making the choices that are best for them in their situation.
Robert Gauger's vocational technical high school students conduct sophisticated scientific research on a college level. In Oak Park, Illinois, Robert has traded hammers and chisels for high-tech tools to help his students build a better world for all of us.
The concepts that are taught in science are reinforced. You know, I learned fractions as a result of technical drawing, not as a result of math. I had to put it in an applicative sense. Technology is the application of science and math. What do you see that you recognize? Move it around. Zowie! Now, how can I take a closer look at that? I don't have a core curriculum. We're still writing it. It's a constant evolving process where I'm continually acquiring knowledge so I can do what I need to do here. What we can do in Chem and Physics Tech is we can help prepare a citizenship of students. They're informed decision makers. They can go out and they can influence the world in a positive way that preserves energy, that preserves our environment. You take something like the rose, just to illustrate, we're kind of breaking up our world. If we don't make a change, what's going to happen to our world around us?
Pam Townsend knows the power of television. While producing local commercials and a weekly television show that broadcasts in Texarkana, her students are mastering communication skills while focusing on their future.
Students can read about a subject, but when they go out and become a part of this subject through researching it, videotaping it, editing it, it becomes a permanent part of their lives. I want you to check the viewfinder and make sure that everything is satisfactory. So that when you go and do this next time by yourself, you'll know.
Hi, I'm Lisa Miller. My special guest is Dr. Jerry Cook, Assistant Superintendent of Texarkana Schools.
I derive great satisfaction from seeing the dormant seeds of creativity spring to life in my students' work. I enjoy seeing them come into the room and not really have an idea, but a week later, they have a finished product that is beautiful, and it makes them feel good about themselves. And I think it's the teacher's responsibility to give that child an opportunity to be the best that he can be.
With us here tonight are the three honorees: Joan Barker, Robert Gauger, and Pam Townsend. And the outstanding vocational and technical education teacher is Joan Barker.
I think this is about a 7-pound, 10-ounce baby here. This took me by surprise. Home economists around the nation, this is for us. We are valid and important, and we don't do just cooking and sewing. We talk about relationships, but I promise I won't give you a condom demonstration today. I also want to accept this honor from my family, both at home and here in the audience today. I also want to accept it for all the AIDS educators and all the families of AIDS victims. We do need to learn from what is happening. We failed to notice the teen pregnancy, we failed to notice herpes, and we can't ignore AIDS. We talk about relationships. It's the academic skills that will get you a job, but it's the relationship skills that will determine whether it's a career. It's the hormone highs in the back seat of the car that begin many couples, but it's the relationship skills that will determine whether they celebrate their golden anniversary. And it's a sperm and ovum that start a baby, but it's the relationship skills that will determine whether they're a loving, caring, warm individual in society. And I am so lucky to have so many where I teach. Thank you.
All of us at the Coca-Cola Company are pleased to present, in partnership with the Walt Disney Company, the American Teacher Awards, honoring exceptional teachers across America. Over the years, the company has proudly contributed to many educational programs, and one that we're most proud of is Atlanta's New American School. When fully implemented, the Learning Village will be a catalyst for enriching the quality of life for families throughout a special community in Atlanta. And now, with a little Disney magic, let's visit the Learning Village.
I'm at Fowler Elementary School in Atlanta's Techwood Homes, the nation's first public housing development. Here to tell us more is Gwen Mayfield, the school's principal.
Bonnie, the concept of the Learning Village embraces preschool through adult learners who live in a high-risk environment. One program we've started is Every Kid in a Club. We want every child to become involved in some after-school activity. Our world-class education will emphasize math and science with high-tech labs and state-of-the-art equipment. We're transforming an existing school in a declining urban community into a new American school in a community committed to lifelong learning. The program will then be exported to other urban centers across the nation. So far, the results are very encouraging.
The first 12 years of school are but a cornerstone of a lifetime of learning. The teachers being honored tonight, along with many great teachers across the country, provide the inspiration. It's up to the rest of us to nurture the environments that challenge all of us to keep learning.
You know, when we do the Academy Awards, people that are nominated, they always tell us, if you win, you only have 1 minute. And if you don't finish in 1 minute, the orchestra comes up and they kind of take over and nobody hears anything anymore. And I noticed that tonight, they're afraid to make a move. Nobody messes with teachers. Nothing changes. Our second honoree in the performing arts practices her skills at Van Nuys High School here in California. Her name is Robin Scher, and she is most appropriately named because she has been sharing her love of drama with her students since 1986, accompanying them on a 7-week performance tour of Scotland, directing them in 16 major productions, and serving as artistic director of the Los Angeles Youth Ensemble Theater, which she founded in 1989. Here is a scene from the life and times of our second performing arts nominee, Robin Scher.
Students come from all over Los Angeles to study with Robin Scher at the Van Nuys High School of Performing Arts. Robin touches the lives of each member of her remarkable cast.
It's amazing. It's amazing what teenagers are able to do. I think unless you've experienced high school theater, you have no idea.
If I lose, I won't give you my box.
Yes, that's right. I think that it's important to give young people, whether they become artists or they don't, to give them the sky's the limit approach to the world. There's a lot of personal characteristics that they have to bring to the ensemble, and a lot of them do. I look for honesty and for being a team player, being able to not just take criticism with grace, but to be able to really listen. What's the question you asked her? Did you pray tonight? She says, what are you talking about? Why are you asking me this? And what's your answer? Sign it. I will defend their right to be who they are as individuals, to have their own opinions, to be themselves, you know. And they give me a lot back, too. They really do. Because they're genuine, they're 100% alive.
The stage is set for the Van Nuys High School Performing Arts Drama Group to demonstrate their skills. Van Nuys is a magnet school, and students who are interested in dramatics come here from all over Los Angeles. And under the direction of Robin Scher, the members of the group have prepared a short dramatic presentation of the thoughts and feelings that accompanied the people on both sides of the riots. Please welcome the Van Nuys High School Performing Arts Drama Group.
One day in LA, we're doing a play, The School Matinee. And it's Wednesday, April 29.
It's opening day of Guys and Dolls, and I'm cool. I've had leads before, although this high school crowd, they're tough. But as they say,
just think of this as a dress rehearsal.
I get out of class to get into makeup early. It's peaceful in the dressing room. I'm running lines, I flip on the radio. Kick back.
A news report.
Says the DJ that Wednesday.
Not guilty, they say.
Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty.
They say.
The verdict is on our mind.
But so is the play.
It's showtime on April 29.
It's going great. But in the second act, my mother is at the dressing room door. You have to leave.
But the show!
Everything's burning and your grandfather's alone in the shop. We've got to go.
But the show must go on.
But afterwards, no celebration, no flowers. Just a rush to get out as the school closes. We're so close during the show.
But now parents standing at the doors calling,
come on!
Buses outside revving their engines. Bus drivers nervous about driving through a war zone. We're strangers. We live in different worlds. In 15 minutes, the theater is empty.
There is smoke everywhere and the streets are crowded. The bus driver takes detour after detour.
Ain't gonna help, man. The whole city's burning.
Burn it down!
At home, my mother and sister are huddled in the front room. Look! Across the street, a mini-mart goes up in flames. All over the neighborhood, you can see the flames and smoke. We sit looking out of a window, hoping the house won't catch fire. No one even asks about the play.
My father worked his whole life for this store. We all work here. For what? To have these people steal what they want and burn it to the ground? No way, man. I never held a gun in my hand before, except the prop in the play. And now I'm on the roof. And it is a real gun. And I will stop anybody who tries to hurt my family or burn us out.
Burn it! Burn it! Burn it!
I swear, I'll really use it.
Everyone is going out looting and coming back with their arms full. Milk and diapers, sirloin steaks and designer tennis shoes. It's a party. Como Navidad, gracias a Dios. Just poor people giving themselves a little Christmas. Rodney, ¿quién? Ni sabíamos quién era.
The store is burning when we get there. My sisters are in front with a hose.
Where's Grandpa?
There's a broken fire hydrant up the street. We fill buckets frantically and throw them on the store.
There's a curfew and we can't go out.
Nothing to do but sit and watch TV.
I sit in front of the TV set all night, just watching. The faces contorted with rage and fear, but mostly just rage. I can't take my eyes off the screen.
All my life, I've been holding it in, but no more. This is it, y'all. Reality. No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
I swear, those people are crazy.
Schools are closed tomorrow? I wonder what'll happen with the show.
They're not crazy. Dad, I have friends there. They're not showing the whole story. What about our school? We all get along. What about that?
The fire's out, we think, but there's still a lot of smoke. We just keep throwing buckets of water on the smoking walls. Where's Grandpa?
He's with us.
I don't understand.
He was lost. We're your neighbors. From up the street?
Oh, thank you. Grandpa.
I'm mesmerized by the angry faces on the screen. But also, sometimes I think I can see hope or compassion. Maybe I'm just looking for that. Es nuestra ciudad también, pero se fue. Nada se queda.
We sit all through the night and watch the sky ablaze with flames. The sky's red with fire. I'm thinking,
how can peace come out of this?
We watch the sky. It's so red. And it seems to be getting brighter. I don't think that's fire. I think it's the morning. It is. Now I can see clearly that it is the sun coming up. It is morning. Morning glow starts to glimmer when you know when the change are set to grow and sweep the through. Morning glow is long past due.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anka.
Thank you. Thank you very much and good evening. I stand before you tonight not as an educator, but as a man who has been educated by his children. You see, I'm the proud father of 5 girls: Alexandra, Amanda, Alicia, Anthea, and Amelia. I got all A's in parenthood, folks. All of our girls, one by one, went through school, which means I went through school with them 5 times. With every PTA meeting the father of a single child attended, I attended 5. For every graduation gift they gave, I gave 5. I stood by and watched 5 times as tall boys in ill-fitting dinner jackets came to my door to take my daughters to the prom, promising to bring her home in the same condition they found her in. Or better. Every step they took on the road of learning was a thrill for me 5 times over. But the hardest moment for me, and of course for their mother, was that very first time when you hand your child over to a stranger, a nursery school or kindergarten teacher, who takes her by the hand and brings her into a whole new world of experience. All my kids, thank God, have turned out to be wonderful adults, and I'm sure it is in no small part due to that very first school experience. Tonight we honor 3 teachers of early education who are equally dedicated, equally committed, and equally in love with their chosen profession. Here are the honorees in early childhood education.
Judy Darden reinforces academic skills with music, art, and drama. Then she adds her own limitless creativity and humor to give these 6- and 7-year-olds a wonderful start on their lifelong road to learning.
Tell me one good reason that we should use the sun to make heat.
There's nothing that they can't learn. There's nothing that their minds can't handle. If you put it in a form that they accept, if you make it interesting, their mind will grasp it. We're just kind of exploring solar energy in different forms, and cooking a hot dog appeals to the stomach and it appeals to the brain.
How does it taste? Are you good cooks? Yeah! The sun's a good cook, Derek Self says.
The sun is a chef.
The sun is a chef, that's right.
Sometimes at the end of the day, I'll have kids come up and say, but I don't want to go home yet. Can we do some more? Now that really makes me have cold chills, because that means I've gotten through on a level that they understand and appreciate. That just makes my day.
Rebecca Goldman's students have failed in other schools because of their emotional, behavioral, and learning difficulties. Rebecca's tools are love, trust, and understanding. And where others see failure, Rebecca sees success waiting to be released.
They've got really, low self-esteem, negative self-image, and they feel like they can't succeed, they don't like school, what's the use? They come here, a lot of them, with that attitude, and it takes a long time, sometimes half the school year, to build up even this much trust with the kids that they're not going to get kicked out of the school, that they're going to succeed here, and that's what we do.
Being a special needs child, you have a lot of difficulties in life. And so Rebecca has given him such a spirit inside of him, a little heart that's grown into a flower to make him feel like he's worthwhile.
They come in here needing lots of support, and we hope that we're gradually pulling away those supports and making them more independent so that they are ready to fly away from us when they leave here and go back into the mainstream and lead happy, successful lives.
You never know what you'll find in Joe Usan's classroom. For Joe, teaching means performing daily on the greatest stage in the world, and it looks like his students have front row seats for an educational experience that will last a lifetime.
Every activity that I do ties in with their reading, their writing, their spelling, and their math. It's not just tied into what they do here at school, but it ties in with what they can do in life outside of the classroom, because it all happens out there.
Ready for math? Go! 5 ones, 5 ones, 5 ones.
I really love to tie in games faced with a specific concept or a skill I'm going to teach. And if it takes a water balloon breaking on my head, I'll do whatever it is to sell that skill or concept they need to know. Yee-hoo, little fish, you'll be a whale by and by. All right. The message they receive from me is I truly love them and care for them. And that's what they'll get all year long, day in and day out.
With us here tonight are the three honorees: Judy Darden, Rebecca Goldman, Rebecca, and Joe Usan. And the outstanding early childhood teacher is Joe Usan.
For the little guys, thanks, you guys make me look real good. I'm really just a prince of thieves, maybe a king. I borrow ideas from teachers, educators, who are willing to try innovative ideas. I thank you, because I'm not afraid to try it. Anything to turn the little ones on, so that when they get to junior high and high school, they can be enthused about learning. They have that chance and a chance to make it for themselves. I want to say hello to Ptarmigan Elementary. They're at the Officers Club in Anchorage, Alaska. I hope, hey, you guys, I'm warm. I'm not freezing. Honestly, I would like to encourage all parents out there of young minds and older minds too. Please be positive. It's contagious. It really is. If you can be positive, no matter how minute, on the things that they succeed, they'll go a long ways. And we need you as partnerships in making it possible for them to be successful. So I would like to ask you, please, join us in making it possible for them and their future. And to the leaders in America, this is my chance. Stay away from the education budget. We were the ones that taught you. You got there because of something that we were willing to give. We will continue to give, but we do need your support. And to all the teachers here, the 35 of you, I wish I could take you back to Anchorage. You guys are fabulous. To Disney, Coca-Cola, and Delta, si Zeus Maasi. Thank you very much.
Last year, the outstanding teacher of 1991, selected by a jury of his peers, was an English teacher from Granite City, Illinois.
In a memorable acceptance speech that included his singing of Zippity Doo Dah, he made a lasting impression on us all.
Please welcome back the outstanding teacher of 1991, Mr. Ed Schrader.
Carrying the title of Outstanding Teacher, can you describe your experience in one word?
One word?
Yeah, one word and sing it.
I got it. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. How's that?
All right, Ed, come on now, get serious here. What was it really like?
Well, it was beyond belief. Aladdin and his magic carpet have had nothing on me for the past 12 months. I've had an opportunity to travel around and meet a lot of my fellow teachers, and if possible, it's made me even prouder to be a member of this distinguished profession.
So we're going to introduce the honorees now for the category of visual arts. Would you like to help us?
I'd be honored.
Visual arts, the need for man to express himself, to tell his story so that other men would know he was here, goes back to the beginnings of recorded time.
And today the visual arts have expanded to include many new tools like photography and television and computer graphics, enabling everyone a chance to express himself or herself in a very visual way.
And here are 3 teachers of the visual arts who encourage that expression in all their students.
In Littleton, Colorado, Angelique Acevedo uses art to bring out the hidden creativity and personality of each of her students. In Angelique's classroom, individual expression becomes an artistic celebration.
This whole mystique of talent, I think, is something that we put too much emphasis on in our society. Everyone can do art, everyone. We just have different vocabularies.
So the hair on an animal has different ways of growing, okay? Keep doing it, it looks great.
And we need to really celebrate all of our differences so that we can be happy with ourselves. If we're not happy with ourselves, then we won't be able to produce anything wonderful, nothing creative, nothing spectacular.
She teaches us that art's a new life, different from ours, and we can look at it any way we want.
So you have to make sure that it's nice and clear, all the color, all right? We need to get them really young so that they'll know that they can take chances, they can take risks, they can mess up and then realize that in those messing up things, wonderful things happen.
As a student, Larry Hurt was inspired to teach by his high school art teacher. Today at Ben Davis High in Indianapolis, Larry's the one providing the artistic inspiration by turning on his students' imaginations.
Art is not a subject. It's an approach to life. It's an approach to seeing. It's an approach to experiencing what goes on around you. What I would like for you to do is turn the portrait loose from the paper. Their entire life existence is filled with questions that don't have answers. They begin to realize that it's okay to not have a right answer. They can have an answer that's theirs, and they can own it. But they also need to respect everyone else's answers. The only way you're going to get those shadows to happen with the black is if there is enough gray that the black actually sets itself off from the gray. I could have gotten into an easier line of work, some days a much less stressful line of work because of all that happens. My job could be much more predictable, but it wouldn't be half as much fun.
In her art classes, Merrill Meisler stresses basic academic skills to help students realize their full artistic potential. In Brooklyn, New York, Merrill shows them that they can succeed in the classroom and in the community.
When I came here, I felt it was important to relate reading and writing to the arts, because if you look at contemporary artwork today, a lot of it has to do with communication, sharing of ideas, current events.
Look how good you're doing. This is a guy who didn't have any work. He changed all his habits. Excellent.
I give kids credit for doing their work and doing their classwork and making projects together. Everything builds up to earning credits. It's like their passport to knowledge. And they're very proud of their notebooks.
Who'd like to read their poem?
I imagine my Brooklyn clean and bright, as charming as the night. When I think of Brooklyn, a beautiful city, full of lights and graffiti.
It's natural to get the students to focus on the world around them. They are the experts. They know it.
With us here tonight are the 3 honorees: Angelique Acevedo, Larry Hurt, and Merrill Meisler.
And the Outstanding Visual Arts Teacher winner is Angelique Acevedo.
Oh, this is just so totally awesome. I can't believe it. Colorado Elementary in Denver, actually Littleton, Colorado, and I say Colorado because there is an English-only law there. Art is such an incredible thing. It has been something that has always been with me. I didn't always like school when I was younger. It was something I just had to do so that I could go to art. When children can be themselves and can see their essence grow, it's worth it. The arts integrate all kinds of learning, every category, everything. We need to be able to help get that kind of learning in every child. There's too much that's happening with budget cuts that's endangering this kind of growth. Visual arts, performing arts, all of the arts can be in major jeopardy if we don't appeal to everyone around us to make sure that that doesn't happen. I want to thank everyone, again, from Colorado and all of you, the teachers here, Disney, my mother, I don't know who else to thank. It's just awesome, and thank you for this opportunity very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paula Abdul.
All my life, I've been looking up to people. Sometimes because I admire them tremendously, and sometimes because they're taller than I. Well, very often they're taller than I. Nowhere was that more obvious than when I was dancing and choreographing for the Laker girls. When the fans weren't watching the Lakers, they were watching us. But the person who was really responsible for the eventual success of the team was the well-dressed gentleman sitting on the sidelines. It's the most important seat in the house because it's where the coach sits. Every person who ever played a sport in high school has been under the influence of a coach, and it can be a very powerful influence. The coach has the power to decide where you play, when you play, what you play, and how you play. In many ways, he or she is like a parent, and like a parent, the coach wants you to excel, to do your best, to achieve your potential. The coach gives you rules to follow, instills a sense of teamwork in you, and often sets the standards for living once the cheering has stopped and the crowds have left the stadium. The best coach deals not only with the best of athletes, but those who are less gifted, yet have the will and desire to succeed. Here are 3 coaches who have earned respect and represent the highest ideals of coaching.
As a teenager, Charles Skip Bird was the manager of his high school swim team. Now he's back at his alma mater in Valparaiso, Indiana, coaching the team. And every day, Skip demonstrates that the only real handicaps in life are those we set for ourselves.
When we teach kids to swim well, that's good. But if that's all we do, that's not too much.
The time in practice, I did a good time. And he just got so excited for me that, I mean, he was jumping up and down literally in his chair. And I mean, it was great to see him get that excited.
Be sure you push off right, on your side, underwater. Breathe when your face is out of the water.
He tries to lift young people up to do the best that they can. He's the mentor, kind of pushing up from below, saying, this is how to do it. This is how to do it. You can do it.
I get a lot of satisfaction. I mean, every year, I think I'm a better teacher and a better coach because I learn more. And I don't think that I've ever had a class or a team from which I haven't learned something.
Members of Pat Pfeiffer's football and track teams are winners on and off the field. In the past 5 years, his Ferris High School football team has emerged as a powerhouse, while his players have maintained the highest team grade point average in the state.
Coaching is the ultimate teaching and counseling situation. Don't worry about first place. Don't worry about going to state, because if you do, that will become the focus and you won't do well. The biggest thing I'd like to accomplish as an educator and a coach is to help students develop their ability to make choices, and that once they make that choice, to be able to stand tall for that and to fight for that choice. Everyone has a reason they're on the earth. You know, some people are priests and some people are doctors, and I think I'm supposed to be a teacher. The idea, except your hand was a little too low. It's not the wins or the losses or the learning how to throw a football, catch a football, block or tackle. The other things that you learn internally, that's what's important.
Joni Powell's volleyball teams have won 5 league and 8 district championships, and they've captured the state title twice. In Colorado Springs, on the court and in the classroom, Joni teaches her students that dedication, discipline, and teamwork are lessons that lead to a lifetime of success.
Volleyball's just a vehicle. I'm just using this sport to show them what life is like.
Mrs. Powell, she likes to win, but that's not the main issue. She's more concerned with the fact that you played your best and that you're learning what you're doing and having a good time at what you're doing.
Cougars by 3.
Cougars!
Playing volleyball under Mrs. Powell has made me feel like a special person because she believes everybody on the team is special.
I continue to teach and I continue to coach because I'm reinforced by them. They motivate me. And I hope that I make an impact, and it might be one little item from a class in health, or it might be something on the volleyball court, but I've made them a better person because I was a good role model for them, and I allowed them to feel safe with me.
With us here tonight are the 3 honorees. Charles Skip Bird, Pat Pfeiffer, and Joni Powell. And the outstanding athletic coach teacher is Charles Skip Bird.
A coach without athletes won't get very far, and an athlete without good parents won't. So it's a real team effort all the way through. This feather, for years, our swim team has used this as a symbol. The idea came from Dumbo. Timothy gave Dumbo a feather, telling him that it was magic, and that with it, he could fly. We coaches give our athletes magic feathers too. Feathers of hope, feathers of self-confidence, feathers of power, courage, feathers of skill and technique. And with these feathers, the athletes do fly. Gradually, we help them fly beyond where they thought they could. Teachers, parents, give your children magic feathers, then stand back and watch them soar. Thank you very much.
In 2 weeks, we have a practice exam and the minimum basic skills test on April 13th. That's 110 school days from now. But it's not just about those test scores. If you do not have these basic skills, you will find yourselves locked out. Locked out of that American dream that you see advertised on TV, that they tell you is so easy to get. You are here for one reason only: to learn, to work for what you want. The alternative is to waste your time and to fall into the trap of crime, drugs, and death. Does everyone understand that? Do all of you understand me? Then welcome to the new East Side High.
Ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Freeman.
Thank you very much. Let me just say first how very proud I am that I was asked to come here and take part in this. Playing the principal of an inner city school was a very interesting experience, especially since it was based very closely on a real person in a real situation. In the film, he was a man of strong opinions with an unshakable belief in two things: the correctness of his own methods and the ability of all his students to learn and improve their lives through education. Now, every teacher we've seen this evening, and thousands like them all across the country, may take exception to his methods, but they all share in his belief in the worthiness of each individual child to excel in a challenging, nurturing school environment. Now, an actor gets a chance to intrude himself on history. History first came alive for me back in Pearl High School in Nashville, Tennessee. My teacher's name was Minerva Johnson, and us boys paid special attention in her class. Mrs. Johnson was an extraordinary looking lady. But that wasn't the only reason we paid careful attention. Mrs. Johnson made history something that we could relate to on a personal level. So a good social studies teacher helps his students to learn about humanity and human error. And very often, while learning that, the students will also learn about themselves. Here are three social studies teachers who have made history this evening. They are the honorees in this most fascinating subject.
To a great extent, Dr. Leo Casey's students have been abandoned by our society. His mission is to awaken the imagination and unlock the intellect trapped inside their minds. For him, this is the essence of social studies.
If education doesn't engage the minds of young people, if it doesn't make them think, if they don't leave with the ability to analyze things on their own, then you failed.
You don't think that power is concentrated in the hands of wealthy individuals?
The most important thing I've learned in Mr. Casey's class is being aware of who you are as a young person and knowing that you have the power to change things.
When I look at the lives that my students bring to the classroom, I think of the Langston Hughes poem, because they kind of live in a landscape of deferred dreams. You have kind of the dried raisins in the sun of AIDS and drugs. You kind of have exploding violence. And the job of a teacher, I think, in the context of all of that, in the context in which so many forces mitigate against any type of social success, is to be a beacon of hope.
Warren Marcus brings students in Silver Springs, Maryland, face to face with nuclear threats, the Holocaust, the Vietnam War, and other crises of the 20th century. By studying the past and the present, they learn how to make a difference in their future.
I try to personalize the history as much as possible in a lot of different ways. We deal with some very heavy-duty topics, very emotional topics. We spend a lot of time at the beginning of the year making sure there's an atmosphere of trust. Have you informed the other countries in the world that you are making this military move?
Continued threats will not be tolerated. Surrender to the Soviets, we are the omnipotent, love Russia.
I hope to deal with my students as adults. I think I develop a feeling of mutual trust with them because I hope to project a real feeling of honesty and openness in the classroom. When I'm trying to plant a seed and cultivate an awareness to what government is doing, what your friends and colleagues are doing, are you involved, are you paying attention? Because these things don't happen overnight, they creep up on you. And I want them to think about that, to help others, not just that they would be helped themselves, but also we're in this together.
Sue McNeil is the school's entire social studies department in Taylor, Nebraska. So does this limit her students? No way. In state and national competition, they go head-to-head against the City Slickers and come home winners.
Many people feel bigger is better. We here at Loup County Public School do not always agree with that. We have 63 students in our 7th through 12th grades. So I teach every student. It is very challenging because I can't do the same thing year after year because I had them year after year for 6 years. I'm trying to prepare my students for when they leave this area and are faced with situations that they're not used to.
She kind of changed my attitude around that we do need school, and we do need to protect our earth, and school can be a lot of fun if you let it be.
Sometimes graduation can be a little bit teary. We've seen these students grow and develop into very mature young men and women. We're ready to send them out into the world. It's a very exciting time for the students, but sometimes it's a little sad for the teachers to see them go. But my salvation is, next year, I'll have a new room full of 7th graders to begin working with.
With us here tonight are the 3 honorees. Dr. Leo Casey, Warren Marcus, and Sue McNeil. And the outstanding social studies teacher is Dr. Leo Casey.
There are thousands of teachers in our schools who work under the most difficult conditions. Teachers who don't have enough textbooks for their classes, don't have enough seats for students to sit in. Teachers who work in schools that are in disrepair. Teachers who have to take in their arm young men and young women who have seen their brother or their best friend snatched by the violence of the street. Teachers who have to put an arm around a young person whose mother or whose brother is dying of AIDS. Teachers who put themselves at physical risk to try to protect their students. And we all go into the classroom and we all try to bring to our students hope, values which are not protected and preserved on the street, not protected and preserved by our societies. Respect for life, respect for self, respect for others, respect for hard work. The value of these Disney Awards is not that it takes an individual teacher and honors them, but that it honors all of us, all thousands of us who do that every day. And that is why I want to take my time here, not to thank those people who made me, but to make the point that I know they would want me to make. The point that it is not right that some students don't have textbooks. It is not right that some students don't have a place to sit in their classroom. It is not right that some students go to schools that are falling down. It is not right that the biggest challenge some young people face is how to get back and forth to school in one piece. It is not right, and we have to do something about that. Thank you.
Once again, it's my happy task to introduce another honoree in the performing arts category. This time, the subject is music, and our honoree is Robin Kramer from Mountain View High School in California. Since hearing her first concert, Robin was destined to make a career in music. She found her outlet through teaching and has inspired hundreds of students to enjoy the pleasures that come to those who pursue the making of music. Performing arts honoree, Robin Kramer.
Robin Kramer fell in love with music when she was 3 years old, and today her love affair continues in Mountain View High in California. Symphonic band, wind ensemble, orchestra, jazz, marching band, Robin inspires all her students to hit the high notes.
Music is a wonderful metaphor for life. You need to balance a trumpet with a clarinet, with a flute, with a drum. Just as in our world we need to balance our races and our differences in order to really have, if you will, a symphony of life. Look right in there and see if you can see the music coming out. Do you think you can? Let's see. Did you see it? She saw it, Joe! Pretty soon they start realizing that that ability to succeed comes from within them. It doesn't come from a teacher. It doesn't come from their parents. That's something that they had to find deep inside themselves. And when I see it happening and realize that I have really the honor of being part of it and being witness to it, that's the best.
We have seen how a dedicated teacher prepares her students for performance, and now we will share in the real thing. The Mountain View Wind Ensemble, 80 members strong, under the guidance of honoree Robin Kramer, will play for you tonight a piece called The Cowboys, written by John Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mountain View High School Wind Ensemble. That was the Mountain View High School Wind Ensemble under the leadership of Robin Kramer. They are the final group representing the performing arts. Earlier this evening, we saw performances by two other outstanding groups. The first performance was by the Carver High School Creative and Performing Arts Center Dance Theater under the direction of Kathy Hess. And the second performance was by the drama group from Van Nuys High School Performing Arts Magnet, directed by Robin Scher. Once again, let us acknowledge the three honorees who are keeping the arts alive in our schools in the category of performing arts. Kathy Hess, Robin Scher, and Robin Kramer. And the outstanding performing arts teacher is